Yeah. Here we go.
All right, everybody. I'm really excited. Today's interview is with Lacey Vilandry of Silver Arrow Art. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty swell. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I am really excited to talk to you about your creative process. So this year's Shine Online, we've really been diving into what inspires people and how to break out of the fear. And that's something that you've been working on a lot recently, right?
Uh-huh. I mean, like many artists, I struggle with different, voices coming back from the past and telling me all the ways that I'm not good enough. And especially recently, I've been noticing the imposter syndrome, like being invited to bigger events and being like, whoa, this is a lot. I don't know. But,
And it's funny because you come out really extroverted, but then when all the people come at you at once, it is a lot. It can be scary.
And I realized that especially at Halloween this year, I'm used to these 2,000 person festivals, and then all of a sudden going from at max 12,000 up to 30,000. That is a big jump. Yeah. I know I look extroverted, but I absolutely get overstimulated all the time.
I think that's fair. I mean, I guess there are some people that really thrive off of that extra boost of attention, but me myself, I would also be overwhelmed because everyone has a question, you answer the same thing 20 times, and it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, even when I was a kid, I was when I heard of Banksy, I thought that was the hugest inspiration ever. The idea of having these famous works and not having your face associated with it at all. That sounded prime. That sounded perfect.
That's goals. Well, you do go to a lot of festivals, and I know that you have a variety of different inspirations and styles of your work. So you have a couple of different themes. What are some of the things you would say inspire your work?
I'm definitely inspired by themes surrounding death and transformation, and especially the process of growth stemming from decay. And so being able to take something that looks gross and understanding that it has to go through this process in order to be nourishing to the mycelium and the seeds underneath the soil in order to grow another beautiful garden.
Yeah, you brought up mycelium. Mushrooms are another hobby, I guess, of yours, or interest of yours. So okay, so you like to work with shadow work, you like to work with nature. Is there any, I know you mentioned Banksy, is there any other inspirational artists that have kind of guided you through your journey?
So many artists. Yeah. I have to give credit where credit's due. Ernst Fuchs was a huge inspiration for the entire visionary art movement as in a classical painting style, and I learned the mish technique from Amanda Sage, who absolutely is one of the most inspiring humans I know.
Wow.
And just all of my art friends and partners, when I paint next to someone, when we paint next to each other, we're bound to cross-pollinate, and that is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you've had so many amazing partners over the years. I also know that you spent time at COSM with Alex and Allison Gray. Mm-hmm. You've done some workshops there, and you've also gone to Italy to explore your practice. What was that like for you?
Life-changing. I got a tattoo of the eco village that I stayed at on my arm as a symbol of my commitment to continue growing on this path.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. It's a good reminder of an amazing unlocked memory and experience.
Yeah.
So this year we've been asking a lot of people during Shine Online, what is a piece of advice you may have for another creative that wants to explore or tap into their inner artist but is afraid?
Make a mess on purpose. Purposely just get some apple barrel craft paint, because I'm pretty sure that's non-toxic. But don't hold me to that. Check out the labels. And just make a mess with paint. These art supplies in the act of creating is not such a sacred process that it cannot be reached. It is a sacred practice that is meant to be done over and over and over again.
I love that. I think a lot of people are afraid of wasting materials or, making something that isn't pretty. And I have to often remind people it's not about the outcome as much as it is the process. And just like for every masterpiece you see a great artist create, there are many messes that have led up to that moment.
And for how many materials are wasted, how much time is wasted by dreaming about doing the thing instead of just doing it. Time's way more precious.
Yeah, and it's healing too to just like make a mess and get creative.
Yeah.
So we've talked about your inspirations, we talked about some advice. Do you have any projects or pieces that you're working on right now that you're really excited about?
I am continuing to chip away at my tarot card series, and I'm over halfway through the Major Arcana, which is like a really major turning point, because I've been working on this for like the last 7-8 years at this point.
Didn't you kick it off at the Crystal Chalice
I
Awards?
sure did.
I love that.
That's when I started the Hermit. And yeah, and then also I'm starting to get more into the teaching aspects of things. Like I really want to release some more online courses and like be more helpful and available in like in a teaching and advice giving way. Yeah,
we're working on our podcast, We Are Artists. We're really excited about that. I think it's going to be a beautiful way for us to connect with other creators and people stepping into being able to say, I am an artist. It's such a empowering thing to do because so many people say, oh, I'm not an artist, but I like to paint. And to me, I'm like, what? That's silly. Like, you are an artist.
Yeah.
But I know there are some of us that take it more professionally. And you mentioned doing tutorial professionally. Yeah, what's that mean? You posted on Instagram, you're a professional. But you also use TikTok. So you've got a pretty good following on TikTok right now, right?
Yeah, well, it's been going down.
But what's that been like for you? As it did go to like rising levels there for a minute.
It just takes commitment. Like if I had stayed posting every day, like it would have kept growing, but I don't. But it's like really cool. I really like TikTok as a platform because it truly allows people the opportunity to learn things that they would not have otherwise even thought of, like answering questions that they never thought of asking kind of thing.
Yeah, I like TikTok because I do feel like I can be a little bit more unfiltered there. We're going to talk about some other unfiltered content here in a second, but there is something about that platform where it is being seen by a lot more people. How can people find you on TikTok?
Silver Arrow Art. I am everywhere as Silver Arrow Art. On TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and gonna be YouTube soon.
Yeah.
Once I figure out how to work my GoPro.
Let's talk about Patreon for a second. What is the importance of people supporting their creative friends on Patreon?
Oh my God, it means a world of a difference. Like, you may not think that $1 or $5 would like make such a difference in an artist's life, but like when you consider the amount of people that like really appreciate the art enough to like give $1, that adds up after a while. And it's really important, especially like in seasons where like we aren't selling the work, like especially winter, or sometimes there's just a summer that like totally crashes and burns, or like things come up, and like having a backup thing, like a consistent source of income like Patreon, is a really important thing to be able to sustain people.
I think people forget too, like they see us going to all these festivals, they think we're living the dream, but it's expensive. And artists don't really get paid unless they sell work at festivals. Like it's a little different than the musician portion of it, where typically they have, like funding to get the music there. But art makes a festival feel more alive. There's a beauty to it. And the artists, they really have to, work to get to each event, to be able to camp, to be able to travel, to be able to fly. And then you're getting ready to go on an adventure soon for your art journey.
Yeah, I'm going to Envision in Costa Rica.
Which is going to be really cool, but you have to ship all your art there.
I have to figure everything out.
Which that's a journey. So every Patreon member goes a long way. And you have a few different tiers, and people can just go sign up, and then
and there's gonna be some more tiers too that will include like things like private art instruction and stuff like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
We recently relaunched our Bring Me to Life Patreon too. We decided to have just a $2 tier because Bring Me to Life. And we're using it to launch some of our more unfiltered content because we like to have a little bit of structure and try to be somewhat professional, but we also want to be our like silly, unique selves. So we thought by putting it behind a paywall for even just $2, like something about that makes it feel a little more safe. So we are launching that. Go find the Silver Arrow Arts Patreon. Go find the Bring Me to Life with the number 2. And is there anything else that you want to give a shout out to before we hop off?
There is nothing romantic about the starving artist archetype.
It's true. And you don't have to be a starving artist.
No.
And you should support your friends so that they're not starving artists, because we put a lot of love and dedication into our craft. And I watch you go really hard in every project you do, whether it is a painting, a piece of jewelry, or an event. You've hosted and collaborated on a lot of really amazing events. And I'm always excited when I know that you're support for an event. The first Crystal Chalice Awards that we hosted as Bring Me to Life years ago was when we first had kind of just started interacting, and you just showed up and we're like, hey, can I put a gallery together like the day of? And I was like, sure. And you just rocked it. And then the next 2 years, it was just like such an exciting experience to watch you just like make it happen. And so many amazing artists got to participate. And I feel like that was a seed that you planted, and it's continued to grow within Bring Me to Life. So working with you has been magical.
Oh, working with you has been magical.
We're doing it, Lacey. We're doing it. All right. Well, go check out our podcast. It's going to be called We Are Artists. And go check out Silver Arrow Art. And until next time, thanks for shining on with us.